last portion of this chapter, and it talks about the house fire, and it's a glimpse of glory. Can you briefly explain? Because we talked about it before in the pod, but for new people, we got new listeners and whatnot. But can you kind of describe what the fire that happened?
The first fire.
First fire. We keep the second one later.
I mean, it's my testimony. It's something I'm trying to bring forward and be more open about. I mean, with close friends and family, it's something talked about, but publicly, I'm getting more comfortable sharing the testimony. I guess I just out of, I don't know if it's fear, insecurity, or whatever it is of somebody, kind of not, looking at the story and just kind of putting it to the side when it's so impactful and moving and things for me. I just didn't know if I could handle that at the season, going through life. But I'm at a point now that it's my testimony. It's my story. I've reflected over it enough. I've talked it through with my mom, my dad, my brother, my wife, and just kind of really understanding what happened, what God's doing and whatnot. So my testimony of life and something that's just impacted me till this day is when, we had a house fire. It was, if I were to just give the full story, it would be my mother woke me up early in the morning, made me some Raisin Bran. Let's just call it Raisin Bran. Not sure if that's what it was, but I had some cereal, and she goes off early in the morning, maybe 5 a.m., 6 a.m. I'm not 100% sure, but she was a choreographer for Peoria Woodruff at the time. And so she went, to go do her thing, meet the kids there in the morning, high school kids. My dad was in the back room sleeping, his room. And then my baby brother, Matthew, was in the crib sleeping at 9 months old in our room. We shared a room. And so I'm in the living room just watching TV, man, just Mr. Wizard. I don't know what I was watching. Something on Nickelodeon. It was like 1983. It was March. And true story, I dropped the Raisin Bran on the carpet, milk everywhere, and I panicked. I ran like a true 3-year-old would, right? I was like, man, I'm out of here. I'm going to get in trouble. So I booked it, went back into the hallway, took a left, went to the room, shut it. Boom, I'm done. And so, and when our bedroom, the way it was configured, not sure if my parents did this or if it was part of the house and we just never flipped it around, but the way that the door lock was like you could lock it from the hallway, not from the bedroom side. So it was locked. So when the door shut, I was locked in. Sounds like could have been a parenting thing. Easy to lock them in. So we didn't lock ourselves in. It was a safety maybe thought. But I was locked into the bedroom. Didn't know at the time, but just giving that little insight now. So here I am in the bedroom. I'm bored. I'm 3 years old. What am I going to do? I don't know. There's a space heater. It's Peoria, Illinois. It's March. It's cold. Space heater's on. I'm looking at it. And it looks really cool, man. It's got like these. You ever seen a space heater back from the 1980s? No. They got the red.
The heater thing.
The heater coils.
Yeah,
right.
Coils, yeah.
And so I'm just looking at it. I'm like, wow, this is like amazing. Like I never really looked at it, as a 3-year-old. So I was like, all right. And then I guess probably just mess around with toys and stuff in the room. And then I grabbed this book. There was this I think it's called Golden Books. And they got like a whole train of characters on the back of, I don't know, it's irrelevant. But anyway, I grabbed this book and I had like that's why I said maybe I was watching Mr. Wizard, because I don't know why, but I chose to put the book in the furnace thing. So I just put a corner in though, a corner in, and I just touched the corner to see what happened. I knew something was going to happen, wasn't sure, but I just wanted to try it out. And so I did, and then I pulled it out. It lit up like a cigarette would.
Yeah.
Got real bright orange, and I was like, "Oh, cool, right?" And so, but then like a cigarette just went out like ash. I was like, "Oh man, that's boring." So I put the other corner in the book. Did it again. I'm like, "Oh, cool." Guess what? It went back back to ash. So I'm like, "All right, man, let's go." So I'm going to the next corner, put it in. But when I did that, I burnt my finger on the first corner, and so I took the book and I threw it. And let me tell you this, man. Back in 1983. The curtains on the wall were made out of straight chemicals, because that curtain went whoosh.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they make them like that anymore.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But I believe the carpet, the curtains, they all just were made out of fabric that was just highly chemical,
flammable.
Highly flammable. Yeah. But I believe, and I'm going to share why I'm saying the word chemical, but I believe there's like high level of chemicals in those that were burning and coming into the smoke. So The room caught flame really fast. Smoke filled the room really fast. And I tried to run to the door. I grabbed the knob and it was locked. I'm like, and so I'm like trying to run around, but the smoke is filling now. The whole room feels black now. Like, and I just smoke and I'm breathing this stuff in and I'm just like, I'm feeling a little dizzy. I hear my baby brother, like Matthew, 9 months old, little baby, man, just crying. And so all I could think was just go to him. I didn't know what I was thinking, like anything beyond that, but just go check on my baby brother. And so I climb the crib, get in it, and my weight breaks it. And then we both roll on the ground. And then I get up, and then I try to go towards the door one more time. Like, I need to get out of here. Something's not right? So I try to grab it. Now, the whole room is on fire, bro.
That's insane.
Everything's just burning. I see flames everywhere. I try to go grab the door again. It burnt my hand because the heat from the fires is so hot. And so I was at the point, man, I gave up. I'm tired. So as a 3-year-old would, I looked at my bed and said, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
So I started going towards my bed, and I started going towards my bed, and at that moment, I just blacked out and fainted and just fell on the bed. Boom. And then it was just kind of like black. And then all of a sudden, man, there's this light. There was this man. There was these people. And all of a sudden, there was a lot of people.
Yeah.
And there was this man walking towards me. I can't remember if he held out his hand or if he said anything, but I knew who it was, man.
Yeah.
And it was like I was no longer laying on the bed. It was like I was standing before him. And I was like, it's Jesus. I was like, and the only reason I knew who he was, and I shared this in chapter 4 of the book, is a couple months before, my mom was singing Christian songs, Jesus songs to me. Jesus loves you. This, all these, and she would play the guitar and play for me. And I remember asking who he was, and she shared who he was. And the way she shared it was like a long lost friend that she loved, and it's like a dad, but a friend. I don't know, the way she shared it is like I want to know him. And I remember, praying a little prayer to him that I wanted to know who he was. And so at that moment in the fire, in that moment where he was walking to me, I knew who he was. It was Jesus. And I didn't say anything. It was just an experience. I was having an experience of visually seeing him. And boom, just like that, I woke up. Guess where I was? I was floating above the house, and I could see my father come out of the house with a robe. I seen fire trucks. I seen an ambulance, and I was probably about 25, 30 feet in the air.
Interesting.
For about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then, boom. Then I woke up in the ambulance. Then I went back. Boom. Then I woke up. I was in the hospital. It was my grandma. And I told her. She was like, oh, Richie, saying whatever she said. And first thing I said to her, Grandma, I seen Jesus. She just like, bro. I was like, I seen Jesus.
That's crazy.
And from that story and from that moment, I've always carried him, that moment and that experience with me through first grade, through second grade, through high school, through college, and always had that experience with me of seeing him and knowing he's alive, knowing there's something beyond this world. And I remember going to college and then, playing 1 year of football and then ended up going to the military for 4 years. And there was a point where just so busy during that military portion that I didn't really talk to my dad for a good 3 years, I think. Little phone call here and there, but it was a good portion, just so busy going, to the Middle East and coming back. I wasn't really talking to many people, right?
Yeah.
So, I was able to get home briefly, and I sat with him and I asked him, because I never actually talked to him about it, and said, hey, what was your experience of the fire? And I shared my experience with him, and and he was like, look, son, when the fire alarm, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
smoke detector went
Smoke,
off.
yeah.
He heard it. He was in the bedroom, and he ran in. He called 911, but they weren't there yet, and so he had to run in. He's the one that grabbed me when I was unconscious on the bed.
Yeah.
Brought me out on the lawn. He ran in, grabbed Matt, threw him. He didn't throw him. He didn't throw the 9-month-old baby. He put him
Set him
out
down. Yeah.
put him out on the lawn, and then, but he was still woke up. He just, still just waking up. So he had to go back in the house and grab a robe and walk out. When he shared that with me, it really like connected dots with, I remember that, like him walking out, and that's when the fire trucks got there. And he said that firemen came in. This is crazy that to share this, but the firemen, when they came, they had to come put out the fire, right?
Yeah.
And the ambulance came, they got me in, and I guess, on the way, my heart had stopped because too much smoke inhalation. It was very poisonous smoke, man, very poisonous. And how long I was in there was just crazy, because the fire department, the chief, and I still have an article that I'm putting in the book that people can read, but the chief of the fire department was suited up fully with his oxygen gear, went in, and only lasted a few minutes, and he almost passed out from the poisonous smoke. It was that potent of poison in the smoke, and the fact that I was still alive was crazy. This little 3-year-old was in there for a while.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like just breathing this stuff in. Here you are, fully equipped, walking in, and the whole article in the paper is about the fire chief almost not surviving and had to be taken to the hospital, and so that's just more confirmation. So after the fire got put out and everything was said and done, my dad had to go back in with the fire chief and look over things, and he said there were his feet unhinged from any fire or smoke on the carpet in the very middle of the room. Looked like footsteps, which was crazy, and they were pointing at the bed that I was laying on, and that moved the heck out of me, dude, because sometimes when you're 3 years old and then you're 40, or even in your 20s, you're like looking back, like, how much do I really remember? Am I creating my own movie in my head?
Right.
So him to give me those confirmations of like, okay, man, this is crazy, and so that's my brief story.